Hi, I'm Young Bob reporting for Vox Populi, and what had happened on the 25th of October is a combination of police control over a peaceful demonstration labelled as a crusade to retake Whitechapel, an area that has a 75% Muslim population, in which case local community leaders, organised by Stand Up to Racism and several unionists, threatened to riot over the supposed far right marching through Whitechapel. Whitechapel, of course, having a notoriously long history of right-wing organisations such as the EDL threatening to march through the Islamically controlled area. The planned demo was a series of tours that were set to take place across the United Kingdom in traditionally liberal areas. What started as originally being in Bristol then ended in Whitechapel. Now, it's always met with controversy, but of course Whitechapel is a predominantly Muslim area. So having a mass deportation tour, especially with the way that Islam is organised within the mosque, of course, East London mosques are probably the most punctual and biggest mosques here in London, was bound to set a response, and there has been a slew of social media campaigns, including one selling face coverings to make sure that if anyone were to commit any crimes, it wouldn't be documented. Now, the section actually used to prevent UKIP's demonstration, it being marked by the police as something which could inflame the local population as it has a majority Muslim population, is Section 14B of the Public Order Act, which allows the police to control where, when and how the protest is performed. And later then Section 12 was enacted, meaning that they had to strictly hold to the route given once the UKIP demonstration was then reorganised in Knightsbridge to Speaker's Corner. The demonstration, which was labelled as the Unity March in Whitechapel, was set at 10 o'clock in the morning. There had been prior canvassing events and speaking events around the Isle of Dogs and Tower Hamlets Council to ensure that as many people were actually there to go against what they labelled UKIP as far right and Nazis. There was also another planned split demonstration with Stand Up to Racism in Speaker's Corner, Hyde Park, but in the very early morning it was actually announced that there was a Section 14 for the entire counter-protest within central London. So we're at a state where in central London you couldn't have Stand Up to Racism, and in Tower Hamlets you couldn't have the UKIP demonstration. There's about approximately 200 people protesting through Knightsbridge to Hyde Park, and thousands other across different Muslim community groups and unionists in Tower Hamlets, of course, preemptively warning any patriot who came across here in defiance of the act to still be protesting in unity, even though there's been several reports of aggravation between the Muslim and left-leaning communities. In fact, several footage came out later arguing that one another wasn't actually made to unite.
No need for that. We're on the same side, bro. No, we're not. Yes, we are, bro.
Now, in terms of arrests, there were two people cautioned to move away from the location at the protest. One for threatening to slit the throat of one of the security guards for the leader of the UKIP party, and another for antagonising whilst they were marching through Hyde Park. Before the demonstration even took place, there were 4 arrests from Stand Up to Racism due to the fact that they were breaching Section 14 of the Public Order Act. In terms of UKIP's demonstration, there were no arrests and no reported arrests in Whitechapel, which is to be expected considering there were no counter-protesting elements of either demonstration.